Cobie Smulders. My name is
Hello.
Born. I am in Montreal and
Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour.
bonjour, ça va bien aujourd'hui?
Ça va très bien.
Good. So, as you know, we have great kids from Young Global Citizens who want to ask you questions today. And we are so happy, so thrilled to have you with us today. We know your work, of course, on television and in movies, but we also know that you're very passionate about the protection of the environment and the oceans specifically. So today we'll ask you 3 questions. Are you ready?
I am ready. Je suis prêt.
D'accord. So the first question is from Cloverdale Catholic School in Surrey, BC, and the question will be asked live. Yes.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, guys.
This is our student council from Cloverdale Catholic School, and our first question for you is, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned from an acting and modeling job? And what advice do you have for young people who also have to follow a career such as yours?
Can you guys say hi?
I'm Adrian.
Nice and loud.
I'm Luke.
Hi.
I'm Emmy. Hello.
Hi, Luke.
I'm Veronica. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Butler, a teacher here.
Hi. Hi. Oh gosh. Okay. So the most important thing that I have learned, I think it's like it's a job by job. I think any job you have, regardless of whatever industry you are in, it's an opportunity to learn something. And sometimes I think you go into a job thinking you're going to learn one thing, or thinking, I'm just doing this for my job to make my money, to do my thing. And then you end up learning something completely different. And that's what I found with each job that I've gone into. Sometimes I'll go into a job thinking I'm doing it for one purpose, and then I end up learning something completely different. I think the biggest takeaway every time that I'm working on a set, which is usually, when you think about making a movie or you think about making a television show, there's around 200 people involved in each production, right? And every one of those people have a job and are contributing to the final product. It's people like me that get a lot of the attention, right? Because it's my face and I say the words and I get all the attention. But it's really about this group of people that all work together to do the lighting, to write the words, to build the sets, there's so much artistry involved in every production. And for me, it is an opportunity every time I go into a job to learn something new, to learn something from the person who is lighting the set, to learn something from the camera department. And so there's always a new lesson to be learned with every job you go into. I think it's about being open. I think it's about listening and kind of taking in things as they come to you. In terms of advice to people who want to go into this type of career, I think that it's about education first. I think that if this is a career that if you want to pursue a career as an actor or actress, I think it's really important to go to college. I think it's really important to study. I think it's really important to understand not only how productions happen, but the plays out there, to read the plays, to understand storytelling, I also will say to live a full life, because I think that if you want to portray a character, you sort of have to understand how all types of humans are, because you're going to be asked to play all different types of humans. So I think it's really important to, again, kind of connecting to what I was just talking about before, which is like being open and listening and learning and absorbing everything you can from the world to then put it into your art, whatever your art will be.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. I grew up in White Rock, and that's so close to you guys.
Yes.
Yes. That's so
Now
fun.
we're traveling to another part of the world, Cobie. We're going all the way to Tangier, Morocco, from Khartoum School. There's one question for you.
Wow.
your work as an environmentalist and marine biologist in training. One of our program's focus points this year is clean water sanitation. How did growing up on Canada West Coast in high your affinity for the environment? What can young people do now to support the environment? شكراً. Thank you.
Oh my God, aren't they adorable?
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's always amazing to go to a completely different country where their English is so amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
Like that's not even their first language. It's so incredible.
So they had a few questions.
yeah,
So the question was, how did growing up on Canada's West Coast ignite your affinity for the environment? And also, what can young people do now to support the environment?
Oh my gosh, what a wonderful question. Yes, growing up in British Columbia, close to the ocean, definitely affected the way that I see the environment. I grew up in a very earth conscious country, which I am very grateful for. I remember a lot of programs in my youth, like sort of instilling the recycling mentality, using less mentality. So in terms of like all that stuff, recycle, reuse, reduce. I don't know if anyone remembers that. Recycle, reuse, reduce, and close the gap. That was a big one from my youth. But I think more than all that stuff, which I think is structured and wonderful to have in place, it was a deep connection to nature that I had as a kid, because I wasn't really like a latchkey kid. A latchkey kid, for the children that don't know this, it means you just kind of go outside of your house and you get to roam around and then you come home at dinner time. We weren't quite there, but because we were so close to the beach, because we were so close to the forests, that was kind of like our playground. And we would get to go out, and I would walk along the beach, and I would lift rocks up, and I would try to understand these organisms that looked alien, and trying to understand how they work together and live together. And so I was always really interested in that. And actually, before I started acting, I was going to go to the University of Victoria to study marine biology, and then I fell into this. So it's always been a huge part of my life. And to the kids watching, we need you guys to it's really coming up to your generation to do better than mine and the ones before mine, to help our planet. And I see myself as as a protector of this environment. And I think that there are so many things that you can do. I think that the number one thing, it's kind of crazy, but the number one thing you could do to help the environment, to help global warming, is to eat less red meat. I know that seems like cuckoo crazy, but it is literally the number one thing, is to consume less animal products. And it's also kinder to animals. Certainly, it's about reducing the amount of plastic you're using. It's about composting, which is super fun and you could do with your whole family. But it is really about, I think we're at this place now where instead of trying to turn products into other products, I think it's just about using less and eating less, and really looking at your life and going, do I really need these things? Do I really need these new toys? And what are these new toys coming in? Okay, they're wrapped in plastic. That's super strange. Do I need this stuff? Do I need to buy more? Do I have enough Legos? I think the answer to that is yes, everybody has enough Legos. So, I think it's really just looking at your life and looking how you can, we talk about having a global footprint, right? We talk about what do you leave behind when you go? Think about the amount of trash that you're putting out there, because it doesn't break down for a very long time and it has to go somewhere, right?
Absolutely. Great answer. Amazing. So this is our third and last question.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from all the way from New Zealand.
My
So we're
gosh, this is
going
so
all
fun.
the way across the globe and meeting kids from Clarenton Middle School in Monroe, New Zealand.
Wonderful.
Question for you.
Smulders, my name is Sabrina Lisa and I'm in year 8 at Monroe Intermediate School in Monroe, New Zealand. By the way, my teacher is actually Canadian. We love the work that you do with Oceana and Planet Oat to support clean oceans and clean water. What can young people do now to support clean oceans across the globe?
So
Oh
cute.
my gosh. Oh my gosh. Can you repeat that question for me? There was a lot of
Yes.
cheering happening, which is exciting.
So the question is, what can young people do now to support clean oceans across the globe?
Right. Well, it goes back to, again, kind of what I was saying before. I mean, New Zealand, that's got to be a major focus for them just because where they are on the planet. It's about plastic. I mean, the amount of waste that ends up in our oceans is really insane. And when you think, I think that people tend to think of the ocean as a separate entity from land because we're land-dwelling creatures, right? But everything is interconnected. When you think about the rain cycle, think about when the rain falls and the amount of air pollution then gets washed into the ocean. And when you think about in terms of our food source, a huge food source is from the ocean, right? If you eat fish and you eat seafood, and in order to maintain that as a food source that is stable for us, if you want to just think about it selfishly, that is something that has to be, the ocean has to stay clean. These animal populations have to stay high, right? So it's really just about, I think what it ends up being, overall is kindness. It's such a simple philosophy. And I don't know why it's so hard for people to understand that, but it's really just looking at something and going, is that a nice way to treat that planet? Is it nice of me to just throw this thing in the trash? Is it nice of me to treat the planet in this way? Is that kindness? And just kind of looking at it in that way. In terms of just like day to day, are there things we could do to help the ocean? I'm sure in everybody's community, there are beach cleanup days. I take, my own, every time I go to the beach, I bring a bag to pick up trash. Because obviously that collects and that gets, eaten by the birds and the fish, and it helps them, and it hurts them. So it's something as little as that. If you want to get a hands-on experience, is go down to the beach and bring a trash bag and something to pick up the trash with, and put it in your bag, and just really see how much is down there, and then you can feel like you're part of cleaning up the planet.
British Columbia and to Morocco and New Zealand. How about going to France? In Versailles, precisely. There's a very, very interesting question for you. Collège Pasteur in Saint-Cloud wants to know, what would you put in a time capsule for the next generation?
Whoa, that is a really good question, and quite intimidating. I always find that like music speaks for a generation. So that's kind of what's coming up for me. I don't know specifically. I tend to listen to like the previous generation's music. I'm very big into Joni Mitchell, maybe also because she's a Canadian. But it would probably be like a compilation of songs that really inspired me. I think it would be, articles that had been written. I think it's like preserving the history and also from different points of view. I think that as time passes, we're all handed the same history book.
Yes.
And it's really written from one point of view. So I think that I would try to include articles and writings and videos from many different experiences during this time, from people from all sorts of backgrounds and all sorts of countries, to get a wider perspective of what this time was.
Cobie Smulders, you've been amazing, so interesting.
Oh,
so
yes.
So the young global citizens around the world, thank you very much for your words of hope, and we'll be,
Oh, yes.
your future projects, and keep inspiring us. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. What a wonderful program. And you kids out there, like, you are our hope and our future. And I'm just so excited to see what you guys are going to do with your own lives.
Thank you, Cobie. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great week. Bye.
Au revoir, merci.
Bye, everybody. Au revoir.